Damien Adenii stood in front of the mirror, dressed in a white designer tuxedo that probably cost more than the first house he ever lived in. His tie was straight. His beard was sharp. His smile was trying to be brave. Today the whole world was watching. The world knew him as Damien Adenii, the youngest black billionaire in Abuja. The tech genius. The man who went from sleeping on a couch to owning 5 penthouses. But right now he was not thinking about money. He was thinking about Rhoda, his bride. The woman he was about to say, "I do" to. Or at least, that was the plan. The wedding was inside a luxury hotel that looked like a palace. Crystal chandeliers. Gold railings. White roses everywhere. Reporters were outside. Drones were in the sky. Everyone wanted a picture of the billionaire groom and his beautiful bride. Damien took a deep breath, adjusted his cufflinks and stepped out of his private room. It was time to walk to the altar. But on his way down the quiet hallway he passed a door. Her door. The door to the bride's dressing room. Rhoda's dressing room. He slowed down when he heard her voice. He didn't mean to. But he knew her laugh. He knew her tone. The sound of it pulled him closer the way music pulls people to a dance floor. Damien paused. He heard Rhoda talking inside. She wasn't alone. Her best friend, Cherish, was with her. Their voices were soft but the hallway was quiet. Every word floated under the door like smoke. "I still can't believe you did that, with him of all people," Cherish whispered. Damien frowned. With who? He was about to walk away but his heart told him something was wrong. His feet didn't move. He took one silent step closer to the door. Just one. "Cherish, stop," Rhoda said. "You promised you wouldn't bring it up today." I know, Cherish sighed. "But what if he finds out? What if someone talks? You were literally making out with..." Right. Damien's phone buzzed loudly in his pocket. The sound echoed down the hallway. Inside the room the voices stopped. Damien jumped, pulled his phone out quickly and turned away from the door as his heartbeat kicked up. It was Marcus, his best friend and best man, calling. "Bro, where are you?" Marcus laughed through the phone. "The pastor's asking. Your mom is asking. The guests are asking. Even the flowers are nervous." Damien forced a small smile and walked away from the door. "I'm on my way," he said. "Just needed a minute." "Take your minute after you get married," Marcus joked. "Hurry up." Damien hung up. His mind tugged at the half-heard words. You were literally making out with who? Why did Rhoda sound nervous? Why did Cherish sound scared? He looked back at the dressing room door one last time. He almost went back. Almost. But then he shook his head. "No," he whispered to himself. "It's just nerves. Weddings are stressful." He chose trust. He chose love. He chose to walk to the altar. The grand ballroom looked like something out of a movie. Hundreds of people sat in white and gold chairs, waiting. Soft piano music played from the corner. Cameras flashed. People whispered and smiled as Damien entered, looking like the perfect groom. His mother wiped a tear from her eye. His father nodded with pride. Marcus stood at the altar, bright smile on his face, adjusting his tie. Damien walked down the aisle, shaking hands, hugging a few people he recognized. But his mind still tried to replay the words he had heard. You were literally making out with who? He pushed the thought away. Today was too big. Too important. Too public. He took his place at the front, next to Marcus. "Hey man," Marcus said quietly, giving him a friendly pat on the back. "You okay?" "Yeah," Damien said. "Just ready?" "Good," Marcus smiled. "You're about to marry the love of your life." Those words should have felt warm. Instead they felt heavy. The music changed. Everyone stood up. The double doors at the back of the hall opened. There she was. Rhoda. In a white dress covered in soft crystals, glowing under the light. Her long veil floated behind her like a cloud. Her smile was soft and sweet. She walked forward, her father guiding her. Every camera turned to her. Every eye was on her. Damien's heart shook his doubts away. That's my future wife. That's my everything. She reached the altar and Damien took her hand. Her fingers trembled just a little. You look beautiful, he whispered. You look scared, she whispered back with a tiny laugh. He smiled. I'm only scared of losing you. Her smile flickered for half a second. Just half. Then the pastor began to speak. The ceremony went smoothly at first. The pastor talked about love, about kindness, about trust, about how two hearts become one. Damien tried to forget the dressing room. He tried to forget Cherish's voice. He focused on Rhoda's eyes, on her smile, on the life they were about to build. A life where he promised to always be kind, always be patient, always be there. He thought of the nights they stayed up talking about helping kids from poor homes. He thought of their plan to start a foundation. To help, not just to spend. He loved how Rhoda talked about giving back. It made him feel like they were building something bigger than themselves. Maybe he was overthinking everything. Maybe the words he heard meant nothing. The pastor turned to the crowd. "Before we continue," the pastor said, "if there is anyone here who has a reason why this couple should not be joined together in holy matrimony, speak now or forever hold your peace." The room went quiet. Very quiet. You could hear the air conditioner. You could hear a cough in the back. You could hear Damien's heart. No one spoke. The pastor nodded and turned back to them with a smile. "Very well. Let us continue." But before he could move on, a voice rang out. "Wait." The words sliced through the room like a knife. Everyone turned. Damien's eyes focused on the figure standing in the middle of the aisle. A woman in a simple blue dress. Hair pulled back. Hands shaking a little. His chest tightened. He knew that face. He knew that voice. Jessica. His ex. The girl he once thought he would marry one day, long before he became a billionaire. The girl who moved away. The girl they always said, maybe later, to. The girl he never really stopped caring about. They had stayed friends. They still checked on each other once in a while. She even told him she was happy for him when he got engaged. So why was she here? Now. Like this? "Jessica?" Damien whispered. The guests began to murmur. Jessica swallowed hard, eyes glossy, and raised her phone. "I'm sorry," she said, voice breaking. "But he deserves to know the truth." Rhoda's hand tightened around Damien's. "Jessica, please don't," Rhoda whispered under her breath, fear flooding her face. Damien slowly looked at his bride. Then at his ex. Then at Marcus. Marcus's smile was gone. His jaw clenched. A single drop of sweat slid down his neck. "What is this?" Damien asked, voice low. Jessica's fingers trembled as she tapped her phone, then turned the screen to the big projector behind the altar. The giant screen behind them flickered on. Everyone gasped as a paused video appeared. It was inside a room. A very familiar room. The same hotel. The same floor. Two people in the frame. A woman in a white silk robe. A man in a black shirt. Their faces were turned away. For a second, the groom's brain refused to understand. Then Jessica pressed play. The woman in the video turned her head. It was Rhoda. His bride. The man in the video moved closer. His face turned to the camera. Damien felt his heart slam to a stop. It was Marcus. His best friend. His best man. On the giant screen, Rhoda and Marcus were pressed against the wall, laughing, whispering, then making out. The ballroom exploded with gasps and cries. Someone dropped a glass. Someone shouted, "Oh my God!" Damien could not move. His fingers went cold. His throat closed. Memories flashed through his mind. Marcus joking about being nervous as best man. Rhoda begging to have Marcus help her with wedding plans. All three of them sitting together, laughing, sharing secrets. His brain tried to protect him. This has to be edited. This has to be fake. This can't be. But he knew. He knew how Rhoda tucked her hair when she kissed. He knew how Marcus held someone's face. He knew their voices. He knew it was real. The video ended with Rhoda whispering, "He'll never find out, Marcus. I promise. After the wedding, we'll figure everything out." The screen went black. Silence. Heavy. Crushing. Loud. Everyone turned to Damien. His mother's hands were on her mouth. His father's eyes were wide. Cherish, Rhoda's best friend, was frozen in her seat, face pale as paper. Jessica stood there, breathing hard, tears on her face, but her eyes were steady. Strong. Damien's hands started to shake. He looked at Rhoda. Her eyes were full of tears. "Damien, I..." He dropped her hand. Slowly. Like it burned him. He turned to Marcus. Marcus looked like he wanted to disappear. "Bro, listen, I can explain." Damien took one step back. Then another. Then another. The pastor didn't know what to say. No one did. Damien felt like the room was spinning. The walls were closing in. The music was gone. All he could hear was his own breath and a loud, painful pounding in his ears. And then he did something no one expected. He laughed. Just once. A broken, shocked laugh. "I was about to say, I do," he said quietly. "To both of you." His voice shook. "Turns out, I never even knew you." Rhoda tried to move closer to him. "Damien, please." He held up his hand. "Don't," he whispered. His eyes moved through the crowd. They landed on Jessica. She looked at him with so much pain and so much care at the same time. Like she didn't want to hurt him, but couldn't let him walk into a lie. His chest tightened. His mind spun. His whole future had just crashed in front of everyone. What was he supposed to do? Walk out? Finish the wedding? Forgive them? Explode? His throat hurt. His eyes burned. Everyone waited. Cameras were still rolling. Phones were still recording. The young billionaire groom stood there, broken, humiliated, confused, about to make the biggest decision of his life in front of the whole world. He opened his mouth, but before a single word came out. Who is Damien Adeniyi? Before he was a billionaire in a white tuxedo, Damien Adeniyi was just a boy in a small apartment with peeling paint and a leaking roof. He was raised by a single mother who worked 2 jobs. His mom, Mrs. Adenuk Adeniyi, cleaned offices in the morning and worked at a restaurant at night. She always told him, "Money can change your life, Damien. But kindness must never change." Damien listened. He learned to share even when he had little. He gave his only toy car to a neighbor's child who was crying. He helped his mom carry heavy bags up the stairs. He walked an old woman across a busy street and missed the bus, arriving late to school. He wasn't perfect, but he tried. He loved computers because they didn't laugh at him. They didn't bully him for wearing old shoes. They just listened and did what he asked, line by line. By the time he was 15, he was fixing neighbors' laptops for 5,000 naira. At 18, he had built his first app. At 25, he sold his second company for millions. At 28, he built a new platform that changed how people shopped online. At 31, he was a billionaire. People started calling him the kind billionaire because he donated money to schools and hospitals, and he visited kids in orphanages without cameras. He believed in kindness, not just headlines. But even kind people make mistakes. And his biggest mistake was trusting the wrong hearts. Before Rhoda, there was Jessica Okocha. Damien met Jessica in University of Abuja. She was smart, funny, and always had paint on her fingers because she loved art. While other people chased fame, she chased sunsets and quiet libraries. They fell in love slowly. No big drama. No loud fights. Just 2 people who truly cared about each other. When Damien had no money, Jessica still held his hand. When his app failed, Jessica showed up with pizza and said, "We fail forward. Try again." They dreamed together. But then life happened. Jessica got a chance to study art in another state. A big chance she had worked for her whole life. Damien's company was just starting to grow. Investors needed him every day. Meetings, flights, calls. Jessica asked, "What do we do?" Damien said, "We try long distance." They tried. Missed calls. Late replies. Busy schedules. Slowly, quietly, they drifted apart. They did not break up with a fight. They broke up with silence. One day, Jessica sent a long message. "I love you, Damien. But I don't want to hold you back. And I don't want to be half-loved. Maybe we need to let each other go." It broke his heart. But he respected her. They agreed to stay friends. They still checked on each other on birthdays, on big days, on random days. Jessica watched from far away as Damien became rich. As he bought cars. As he gave speeches. As his name trended online. And then one day, she watched his engagement picture with Rhoda. Her heart hurt. But she smiled. And typed, "Congratulations. I'm happy for you, really?" But deep inside, she worried. She had a strange feeling about Rhoda from the start. Rhoda Okabunmi grew up very differently. Rich family. Fancy house. Expensive schools. Private drivers. She was beautiful. The kind of beautiful that made people stare when she entered a room. But her life was not as perfect as it looked. Her parents fought a lot. Her father cheated. Her mother smiled in public and cried in private. Rhoda learned something dangerous. People care more about the picture than the truth. So she worked hard to make her picture perfect. Perfect hair. Perfect smile. Perfect Instagram page. Perfect friends. When she met Damien at a charity gala, she saw more than a man. She saw a life. A life that would keep her safe, famous, and secure. At first, she really tried to love him. And some part of her did. Damien was kind, gentle, and funny in his quiet way. He listened to her stories. He supported her dream to start a charity program for girls from broken homes. People loved them as a couple. The billionaire and the angel-hearted bride, the magazines said. But Rhoda had a shadow. A part of her that still wanted danger, flirting, and attention. And that shadow pulled her towards someone she should have stayed far away from. Marcus Osazuwa was Damien's best friend since high school. Marcus was from the same rough neighborhood. They used to share snacks when they had none. He pushed Damien to join the computer club when everyone else thought it was nerdy. When Damien became rich, he didn't leave Marcus behind. He made Marcus his right-hand man. Helped him start a business. Made him best man at the wedding. Marcus loved expensive watches, fast cars, and being the fun guy at every party. He was the loud one. The one everyone liked to be around. But somewhere along the way, Marcus started to feel something ugly. Jealousy. Damien had the money. Damien had the respect. Damien had the girl. And Marcus? Marcus was always the friend. The friend standing beside him in pictures. The friend laughing behind him in interviews. The friend in the background. Until one day he stopped wanting to be in the background. A week before the wedding, everything looked perfect. Damien paid for a full floor of the luxury hotel. Rhoda had her spa day. Family members flew in. The internet was excited. Damien spent that week trying to be present, kind, and grateful. He sent food to the hotel staff. He tipped the cleaners well. He checked in on his cousins and made sure everyone had what they needed. He told Marcus, "I'm blessed to have you, man. None of this would feel real without you." Marcus hugged him. "Always, bro," he said. He told Rhoda, "I'm ready to build a life with you. Not just a fancy one. A good one." She smiled and kissed his cheek. "Me too," she said. But that night when Damien went to sleep, Rhoda was not alone. She texted someone. She went to someone's room. And the secret that would shake everything began in a quiet hallway when she knocked on the wrong door of the right man. Marcus. The night before the wedding, Jessica couldn't sleep. She kept seeing Damien's face in her mind. She kept seeing Rhoda's perfect smile and the way people raved about her online. Something about it all felt off. Then she got a message. A video. From an unknown number. No words. Just a clip. A clip of Rhoda and Marcus making out in the hotel. At first, Jessica thought it was fake. Then she watched again. And again. Her hands started to shake. Her heart squeezed. She had two choices. Ignore it. Or protect the man who once loved her with his whole heart. The man who still sent her kind messages when she had a bad day. The man who always said, "If you ever need me, I'm one call away." She booked a last-minute ticket to Abuja. She reached the wedding late, heart pounding, not even sure if she was doing the right thing. But when she saw Damien standing at the altar, smiling with trust in his eyes, she knew. She had to speak. Back to the altar. The video has played. The truth is out. The room is silent. Damien's heart is broken in front of everybody. Rhoda is crying. Marcus is frozen. Jessica is shaking but standing strong. And Damien? He is standing between the life he planned and the truth he cannot ignore. He opens his mouth. Everyone leans in. What will he say? Will he forgive? Will he walk away? Will he explode in anger? Will he break down? His eyes move one last time, from Rhoda to Marcus to Jessica. His lips part. Damien finally spoke. Just one word. Enough. The entire room exhaled at the same time. Damien turned to the pastor. "Please, step aside." The pastor quietly moved away. Damien looked straight at Marcus first. The man he once trusted with every secret. "You were supposed to be my brother," Damien said, voice calm, too calm. "And you knew I loved her. You knew exactly what this wedding meant to me. And you still." Marcus choked on his words. "Damien, please, we were drunk. I regret it, man. I swear." Damien stepped back like the apology was fire. "Don't lie again," he said softly. The truth already burned this place down. People whispered. Cameras zoomed in. Marcus lowered his head. He had nothing left to say. Then Damien turned to Rhoda. The bride who never made it to I do. She reached out with trembling hands. "Damien, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I made one mistake." "One?" Damien whispered. "Rhoda, I heard you. Outside your dressing room. You said you were making out with someone. You promised Cherish you wouldn't bring it up today." Rhoda froze. Her eyes widened. Damien nodded slowly. "You didn't know I heard." The room went still. "You promised me honesty," Damien continued. "You promised me loyalty. You promised we were a team. But you broke all of that before we even reached the altar." Rhoda's knees shook. "Please, Damien, we can fix this. We can talk. We can." "No," he said quietly. "We can't fix something you broke on purpose." Silence. Heavy, painful silence. Damien looked at Rhoda one last time, a soft sadness filling his eyes. "I hope one day you choose the version of yourself that doesn't hurt people," he whispered. "But that version is not today." Then he turned around. Slowly. Calmly. With dignity. Damien walked away from the altar. Away from Rhoda. Away from Marcus. away from everything that was supposed to be the happiest moment of his life. The crowd parted as he passed. Some cried. Some whispered. Some clapped softly out of respect. But no one stopped him. Because everyone knew. A man who walks away from a lie is stronger than a man who stays in it. Damien stepped into the quiet hotel hallway. His hands were shaking. His breath was uneven. For a moment, he rested his forehead against the wall. He wasn't crying. He wasn't angry. He was empty. Like someone had scooped out everything inside him. Footsteps approached behind him, gentle, uncertain. It was Jessica. Damien? He didn't turn around immediately. He didn't want her to see how broken he looked. But Jessica stepped in front of him anyway, her eyes soft with worry. "I'm sorry," she said. "I didn't want to hurt you. But I couldn't let you walk into a marriage built on betrayal." He met her eyes. There was no judgment in her face. Only concern. Only kindness. Only the same girl who once brought pizza to him when he failed his first app. He let out a shaky breath. "I didn't expect any of this." "I know," she whispered. For a few seconds they just stood there. Quiet. Still. Safe. Damien finally spoke. "Why did you come, Jessica? You didn't owe me anything." Jessica's eyes softened even more. "Because I cared. I still care. I couldn't let you sacrifice your life for someone who didn't deserve your heart." Damien looked down. His voice cracked a little. "I feel stupid." "You're not stupid," Jessica said, stepping closer. "You're trusting. You're kind. The world needs people like you. Don't let them change you." Her words hit him deep. For the first time since the video played, Damien exhaled, like he had finally released all the pain trapped in his chest. He whispered, "Thank you for being here. Even after everything between us." Jessica smiled sadly. Some people don't stop caring just because life moved differently. He met her eyes again. Something warm and familiar passed between them, something he had not felt in a long time. Not fear. Not confusion. Not doubt. A few weeks later. The wedding never happened. Rhoda tried calling. Marcus sent long messages. Damien deleted them all. He focused on peace, healing, truth. He spent time with his family. He focused on his charity projects. He visited the kids his foundation supported. But something unexpected happened. Jessica kept checking in. Not every day. Not every hour. Just enough. Enough to show she cared. Enough to make him smile again. Enough to remind him what real loyalty felt like. One day, Damien invited her to join him at a kids' art studio that his foundation sponsored. "Only if you paint something too," she said. He laughed. "I'll try." That day they painted side by side just like they used to in college. They laughed. They teased each other. They helped the kids mix colors. At some point, Jessica looked at him and said quietly, "You're smiling again." Damien paused. Then he said, "It feels good." Jessica nodded. "It looks good too." Their friendship grew again, slow, steady, honest. No pressure. No confusion. Just two people who remembered what they once had. Until one evening. Damien walked Jessica to her car after a charity dinner. The air was cool. The city lights glowed softly. He hesitated. She looked up at him. Their eyes lingered. Slowly, carefully he took her hand. "Jessica," he said gently, "can we try again? Not because I'm hurting. Not because of what happened. But because you make me better. You always have." Jessica's breath caught. She held his hand tighter. "I never stopped wanting us," she whispered. "I just thought life didn't want it for us." Damien smiled softly. Maybe life was just waiting for the right time. Jessica stepped closer. Then maybe this is the time. Damien didn't end up with the bride who wore the perfect dress. He didn't end up with the friend who wore the perfect smile. He ended up with the girl who always told him, "We fail forward. Try again. Be kind." The girl who always loved his heart, not his money. The girl who interrupted a wedding, not to win him back, but to save him from pain. Damien and Jessica began dating again. Slowly. Truthfully. Peacefully. The billionaire who walked away from betrayal. Walked into the arms of someone who never betrayed him at all.